Alright guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel, and today I just want to clarify a little bit before the video starts that a lot of things were missed in this, a lot of things were skipped, and there is some missing footage, but in the end result, it's really going to pay off. The interior in that car looks immaculate when it's done. There's still some things I got to do to it that'll be coming in some other videos, but for the most part, well, it's done, and I can't wait for you to check it out. Just make sure you watch from beginning to end. I appreciate it. I worked really hard on this video, so yeah, appreciate it, guys. Catch you in the next one, or I'll catch you in the next one later. Thanks. Alright guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel, and got more celebrity content for you. I know a lot of you really love this car. I don't really see why, but majority of you like to see more content of these cars than you do anything else. So if you recall, about a few months back ago, I had stripped a 86 Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra Brougham version. I completely took everything of the interior because I had plans to swap that interior over to my 87 Eurosport. So we are getting everything gathered out, all the parts together, and we're finally going to start gutting the interior on this car. I mean, completely everything. The seats are coming out, the console's coming out, the door panels are coming out, steering column's getting swapped, armrest, everything, the trim pieces around the top of the roof of the car, the sun visors, the pieces at the bottom. I mean, pretty much everything. Seat belts are getting swapped. I completely got everything. Now the only downfall is the door panels and the stuff off that car was a power window vehicle, so I don't know if these holes actually line up where the manual cranks are at on these. I'm hoping that it does, but if it doesn't, well, that's going to be a problem. But if you line it up exactly how it should be, the hole is right there where the crank handle should be. So the back's gonna look a little funny with the big old square cut out of it, but with the roundness of that crank handle should cover up majority of that. I'm hoping that it looks good and doesn't look tacky. But the front, however, are gonna have this gigantic hole in them, which I don't really like for the front door panels. The rear door panels are probably going to look good, but the front ones are probably not going to look so good. My main concerns are I had to get the transmission shift cables because the seats that are going in this car are leather, completely leather, and this console will not fit in the car. That's why I had to change the steering column. I've looked at it every other way. I've actually took it to a shop to actually look at them doing cutting this or even making me one, and it would cost way too much money versus just going ahead and getting another steering column, which is what I've done. I got it out of that car. The car only had so many miles on it, which really wasn't much at all. And so with that, we're gonna remove this whole piece here, the shifter and everything, the cable, all that's going away. It's actually going to be on the column instead, because the driver's seat is way too wide. It actually sits probably about right here in between it, so I really don't want to cut this or have to do anything to it, because you can't find these pieces anymore. And if I ever own another Eurosport or something else that could use this, you know, then it would be destroyed. So I'm going to take it out, keep it. You know, I may sell the parts that are out of this car because I'm not going to be needing the door panels. I'm not going to be needing the seats. I don't like the seats. The seats look cool. They're very rare optioned, but the problem is when you're sitting in this thing for 35 minutes or more on drives, it is not comfortable. With your wallet in your back pocket, the way that the bottom of the seat does, it hurts your bottom area when you're sitting too long. Seat's ripped right here, but I mean the cushion's there. It sits comfy, but like I said, it's just not enough room. I like something that's more wide. My 85 Celebrity had bucket seats, but that wasn't made to where the seat was like this, like these are. Mine were made flat, and then it had the console, and then the other one was a bucket seat. This is way different. It is stylish, but if I could use them in something else, like say the S10 Blazer, I'd throw those in there and, and call it done. That wouldn't bother me. But in this, I mean, you can't really use these seats in anything else. So, if you're interested in the seats, I could sell them to you. And shipping's going to be a nightmare, trying to get it shipped to somebody. But console, I'm not going to need. Door panel's not going to need. Steering column, I'm keeping. But a lot of this is just going to go in storage and sit. That's where it's going to go after it's taken out of the car, because I have no room for it here at the house or the garage. So, I guess we're going to go ahead and get started on ripping everything out. I got all the door panel pieces, all the trim pieces. Got more pieces in here, the seat belts and stuff like that. Some weather stripping, some wiring. I actually got the trunk light. Since mine doesn't have that option, I went ahead and picked up that guy. Wherever it's at, it's in here somewhere. So much crap. Alright, so there's that part. So I got to run all this to the trunk light. I actually already got it set up in here. Right there. You got the connector for it. So I actually have a trunk light for it. I have another trunk lid as well. It's a different color, so whenever the car gets painted, I will actually put the other trunk lid on it instead. This one's rotted out. It's cracking and messing up around this area all the way down, and then the whole inside lip is completely rotted, pieces falling off of it, things like that. So here is the carpet that's going to go in it. It's in really good shape. There's some staining in some spots and it's a little dirty, so I'm going to go ahead and rinse the shampooer again and go over it and clean the carpet. I may wait and do that when it's in the vehicle, because you can still access it, and that way it's already in and done. But for the most part, it's in really good shape for its age. Then we got the sun visors and the belts and floor mats, the transmission shift cable, the other trim pieces and panels, things like that. No, that's not doggy pads. It's actually interior parts for the car. Some brackets and all that good stuff, some switches and everything that I'm gonna need. Looks like some other, there's the pieces that go on the door panel, some other Celebrity parts. And this has been 4 months, so I've actually kind of forgot what's in here, surprisingly. So anyway, there's the majority of everything. So for the most part now, I need to go ahead and start gutting the interior on the thing. Alright, so a bit of time has passed. It's been a couple days since the last time you've seen the clip of me taking this stuff apart. So now I've already had this window tinted, and I had the other one tinted. This one is now tinted. The glass is tinted, new door panel and everything is put on. It looks freaking fantastic, man. Oh my god, I'm amazed. But yeah, that rich color, everything about it, I'm never gonna find that again. Anyway, I put those back seats in before, but those got to come out. Main thing what I done off camera was took this door panel apart and put it together. Main reason I was doing it off camera was because I didn't know exactly where the brackets go for the armrest. They're different than the Celebrity. you can't use the same bracket. It has to be a different one. So, and that bracket, I'm going to show you on the passenger side. The driver's side I did by myself. Passenger side we're going to do on camera. Here's the bracket. It has to go like a certain way, a mounting, so that way the two holes in the middle, this one and the one straight up, mounts to the bolt hole here and down here on the armrest. That's it. The other two line up that are already pre-drilled in the door. You just need this bracket just to put the two freaking screws on this side. It's ridiculous. Another problem is this right here has a screw in it, and this one does. I have the brackets, but I don't know how they go. I tried and tried to figure out exactly how they went on the door, but I can't. So I just went without it and put it on there. I mean, you can still pull on it to shut the door. It's not going to like yank the door panel apart, or you could grab it right here and pull the door shut. Either way, that part's done. This one went on like a piece of cake. I didn't have to worry about none of the brackets. They're actually the exact same as the ones that have the celebrity door panels, because they're the same armrest. The ones up there are not the same armrest. That's why it was so different. The window crank, it looks really good. You can't even tell it had a power window option unless you really pay attention to it. It's got all the chrome and good stuff. That door shuts good. I greased and lubricated the window when I had it apart before I did tinted the window. And I did the same thing for this one, because they're all kind of tight when you kind of roll them up and down and they squeak. So take care of that. We don't need to break anything. You can't find parts for them. And even if you do, it's probably Chinese brand. It's just going to break again. So anyway, I need to make a bracket for this guy. You know, make a, not necessarily a bracket, but a cover that goes on like the power windows switch panel did, and then drill a hole just big enough for this to stick through, and then put my door handle and stuff on, and I can screw it in right here and here, and it'll stay. So that's what I'm going to do for that one. I'll have to go somewhere and find one, have somebody make one, or just make one myself out of plastic. I don't really want to do metal, because metal's too heavy, because you're dealing with a plastic door panel. So anyway, we're going to make something for this to cover that up so it looks better. I don't like that big old hole for the window crank. Anyway, that part's done. Also did the outside door handle. It's brand new now. There's no play, absolutely no play like this. This one doesn't do that anymore. The other one was actually really broke. It's very tight when you open and shut the door now. So the center console is removed, and this is the issue of why I've got to put another steering column in it, because the bracket, you see the seat needs to go to here. The seats will fit the car. It's the console in the middle and the shifter. All that's got to be deleted. There's just no way I can't even make one for it. You can't move the shifter up because of the cables that run underneath the floor. I'll have to cut the other carpet if I wanted to keep that. I don't really want to do that. You know, I'd rather just put a steering column in it, because it's really simply easy. It's not hard at all to swap steering columns. And I've already got the cable, like I said, to do the shifter and all that stuff. So that goes to the transmission to put what gear you're in. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna finish ripping it apart. We gotta do the other side. Now, I've already halfway taken this apart. Only thing that's taken off is the armrest. That's it. All it is actually 3 screws, and the door panel comes off. I mean the armrest. It's really simple. And then you got a screw here, and then 1 screw in behind there. Then this little cover piece comes off, and then you got to get the little C-clip type of pin off the back of this window crank. I don't have the special tool, so usually I just take what I've got, knock I call it a C-clip, it's called something else, but anyway, to pop this door handle crank off. And then once you do that, you have just a bunch of clips that you got to remove, pop out without breaking them, and this screw in the whole panel will pop out. And then once it pops out, then you kind of tilt the panel out just a bit, and then pop it out of its, there's like Some of these have a set, like, groove plastic piece that locks it into the door, but mine are actually broke, so it doesn't really hold. These door panels have been off before. At least the front two have. The back two have not. The reason I know is because of this right here. This that's for the door lock actuator, so I know they've been replaced before, but the back ones have not been touched at all. So still gotta get this seat out. I gotta finish getting that shifter out of here and get the trim panels and stuff. I gotta take the back seats out. Need to go ahead and take the back seats out anyway, because the carpet lays underneath and all this trim and stuff's in the way. So yeah, the back seats, and I'm going to show you guys doing possibly the tent and doing the door panel and that door panel, swapping it over. Just in case somebody out there is like me that's trying to do this craziness, swapping from a, you know, Eurosport level nice interior to a really upgraded luxury Brougham version interior that's leather. Alright, so the passenger door panel. Go ahead and start tearing into this, because I need to go ahead and put the tint on this window before it gets too cold and before it gets too dark, because it's already 5 o'clock. Alright, so Phillip head screws, 2 of them in the door rest. And you got 2 over here. Okay, so there was change in there. Alright. More change. Nice. I'm getting paid back. That's sweet. Lay that to the side. And then you got 4 Phillip head screws for this. And then there's 2 in the very bottom. Okay, so to get this little guy off, they call it a C-clip. That's exactly what I call it. It's made like this. Of course, not as bent up as this, but it does have these 2 tabs bent out. Pretty much what it does is it holds the handle on. It goes around this part, locks in, and the 2 tabs right there that you see that are squeezed in actually lock onto this little groove that's set in around the mechanism for the window crank. And then that's what holds the whole handle on. But without having the proper tool that's supposed to just push this side and this side out and pop it off, you got to take a flathead and then one of these to get in behind there, prying to get to push the door panel backwards. So you can get a small flathead or this and knock the ring or C-clip off, which is why it's so bent up. I've got more, so it's not a big problem. But now everything else is taken off. It's pretty much just a bunch of push pins or clips that hold the door in. If I can get, there's 1, 2, 3. Already dirt falling out. I'll have to get this right here. This is why I bought it. Is to go in behind the clips and prop them out, because you'll break them. And that might be why the car has a little bit of a must smell. That'll be taken care of once I get all this cleaned up. Now the door panel's loose. I know the back ones for sure have these clips, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about if I can really get my hand up in there. Some of the clips broke, but there's a little pin that locks down in behind the door itself for the skin. You have to take a big flathead, and I know there's one about right in here in this section, and go underneath, push it in, and then the door panel pops out. Alright, see that little clip right there that's sticking through? That's exactly what I was talking about. So you take this flathead screwdriver, you stick it straight up in there, push that clip inward, and pull the door panel up at the same time. And there's one about right in this section, like I said before. You push it in, do the same thing. There's only two. And the panel should come out. Alright, just like that. Alright, that side's loose. You kind of pull it out towards you a little bit. Lay it down. This side's still kind of stuck. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that again. There you go. So now it's off. We'll be using the same bracket here. It's the same thing as for the slab, so you don't need a special bracket for the back door. It's only the front two doors. So if you need to know how to take a door panel off, that's pretty much the same thing as it is for the front doors. Many GMs use the same setup, so 80s, 90s, and so on. So anyway, I'm going to peel some of this old raggedy cardboard down and clean out the dust, and there's another stink bug. Clean out the dust, lubricate the window mechanism, and then try to put the tin on the glass, and then put the door panel back together. Gotta pop off these old clips. They all broke, or at least they broke out of the panel. Sometimes they'll break out of here. I got lucky with that one. I can still use it. Some of these pretty much will snap off right here. They're old. You can get new ones at the parts store all day long, so it's really not a big deal to fix. Alright, I'm sure you were curious of what I'm using to lubricate the door and everything like that. I'm actually lubricating the hinges too. I got it off the inside guts so nothing sticks and everything opens and shuts smoothly, because like I said, I've only put like maybe 6,000 miles on this car within the 2.5 years of bringing it back to life. You know, maybe about 3 years or something like that. So, you know, a lot of things are really not have been done that are mechanical like this for the windows. The back windows were terrible, and I know that one was really bad, the passenger side. But anyway, so lubricating everything, the whole glider that goes up and down for the glass, that doesn't break, because there's plastic pieces that hold this glass in. If you don't get that lubricated and it's stuck, it could break the glass, or the actual clips, and the glass will just fall. And the whole mechanism right here that goes inside of there, it's like a little gear for the window crank. Lubricating with that. And everything I'm using is white lithium grease. Never had a problem out of it. I use it on everything like this. Hinges, everything. It pretty much has it all set here. Let's see. Alright, so this stuff lubricates pretty much brake and gear shift mechanisms, steering parts, hinges, latches, distributor cams, speedometer cables, seat tracks, ashtray guides, antennas, sprockets, chains, water pump, and garage door channels, braking lubrication for bearings, etc. Lubricates machines, tools, equipment in the shop and on the farm and at home. Best stuff to get. Picked it up at Walmart. I think it was like maybe $8 or $10. And I use it on everything. And then go ahead and coat the inside, shut and open the door a couple more times, roll the window up and down a couple more times, and spray it some more, and just so it has a good thick film, a layer of stuff on there, because once this goes back, I won't be touching it ever again. Alright, so the 2 screws are pulled out, and wherever pieces looking for this little guy, all you do is pop it forward and sometimes you have to pry this part back in order to get this whole piece out. Anyway, so that's out of the way, and the next thing is well, if you have power door locks, then you push this little tab right here outward, and the other one that was there is broke, so it's no good. But my power door locks do not work, and they never have since I've had the car. I believe it's something to do with maybe a ground problem, or maybe a power problem to them, or maybe just the actuators are shot. But Either way, all you hear is a clicking sound on this side in the upper part of the dash. It's like a relay. So I'm not sure what's wrong. I need to take 12 volts and actually touch the terminals on the actuator in the door and actually see if it locks and unlocks. If it doesn't, then I know that's the problem. But I just find it funny that all 4 doors are completely broke. The actuators. I mean, it is 30 plus euro car and it sat for 7 some years or more, but still, I just kind of find that odd. Anyway, here's the sound that it makes. Literally nothing. Put you closer. So, you see what I mean. Anyway, the reason I'm explaining this is because the door panel and stuff that's going on here does not have the same switch for the door locks, so I won't be using them. They don't work anyway. It's not going to hurt for me to just use the manual. I'm not doing away with a connector, nothing like that. I'm just going to simply unplug it, shove it in the door, put the cover on, and call it done. Now I can rewire it. Maybe I will later on, but for the most part right now they don't work, so there's no use for me going all to that trouble for nothing. So, anyway, get rid of this and then pop the door panel off and show you the inside guts on this one. The paper and plastic stuff that goes behind here that you see on most vehicles that's never been touched is actually gone, so there's nothing on this side or the driver's side. So here's the newer door cover piece. It has the unlock and lock button switch in it. Problem is, the connectors are different, like I said. Same colors, you know, the blue, orange, and black. So, let's see. Black is your ground. I believe orange is your 12 volt power to it, and then your blue is your switch power that makes it do what it's supposed to do. Problem is, connectors are different. Yeah, they still have the 3 wires, but this one is straight across I'm putting in, and that one is kind of octagon or something like that, like a stop sign. So it's not going to work without having to be rewired. So that's another reason why I cut these so far back like I did, because that way I could cut this one off, wire this one in, put this on if I want to put door locks in this thing. You can't find the actuators. Actually, the parts store carries them, but they're so expensive. The car's so old, and it's just easier for me to just reach over and lock it versus spending like $30, $60 plus each, because apparently if this is correct, all of them are dead. I'm going to need 4 actuators, and there's just no use for that. I'd rather spend money on other things that the car actually needs to actually make it run and drive and whatever, etc. So, for the most part, it's just going to go on, and that connector is just going to stay in the door for now. Alright, so I've got to grease all this again, like I did with the other doors, with that spray. But for the most part, to swap this over from the standard, you know, celebrity door card and armrest to a oldsmobile Brougham version, you need the brackets. And it's mainly for the driver and passenger front door. This guy right here, without this, the armrest will not mount up. It is way different. So, the holes are already pre-drilled and cut in the door. They just need to be used, which is pretty awesome about GMs. Even though they didn't use something, the holes or cutouts are there. You just need to finish the job to do it. So, this is the same thing I did on the driver's side door. Pretty much, you just mark it up and line it up to the way it should be. So, pretty much, this one goes there. That one will bolt up there, and that one bolts down there where these 2 holes are. And then actually it bolts here too. So there, 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 and there. Just take these three out, lay that bracket to the side. Alright, next thing we're doing, see the door handle on the inside? You got a nut there, like a bolt, and then you got a nut there. Those two have got to come off. They are a 12 millimeter, if I'm not mistaken. If it breaks, it breaks. It's not a big deal. And then you've got the little tab lock that locks in the whole rod for the actual handle that pushes down the whole door lock mechanism right here at the bottom. So those two nuts come off, and then you pull that other part out, and then the whole handle should come out. Alright, so this is pretty much how I do it. One of them off already. You take a swivel with a 12 millimeter extension into a ratchet. And the whole thing comes out. They pretty much are like screw-on nuts that actually, when you tighten them down, they actually dig in and make threads on the whole thing. But here's the main problem. Both door handles that I bought for this car are Dorman brand, you know, the normal Chinese junk. Well, they don't fit the nuts that came off the original door handles for this car. Do not fit the new ones. The studs that stick out on these are a lot smaller, and that's a problem. So as you can see, the whole thing goes all the way down to the bottom. It shouldn't do that. Hopefully the part number shows up right there. And there's your part number, 77049. And you got some other ones right there. Hopefully it'll focus. Oh, too much. But anyway, so I went to the local auto parts store and I picked up this guy. It's a Dorman, part number 45384. It's like $3 or $8, something like that. It's like $10 or less, and you get a variety pack of the same washer screw-on nuts is what I want to call them. Universal. They don't have an actual name. Threaded cutting nuts is what they call them. Anyway, you get a variety pack of these. Take the ones that'll fit out, screw that on this, and then it is done. That's pretty much how I did the driver's side, because I didn't have nothing else that would fit. Alright, no more floppy door handle. This one worked, but there was so much play, you know, it was getting to where the door didn't want to open anymore. Same thing for the other side, you know, 239,000 miles, you know, it's had it. So anyway, it's in. That was a pain in the ass, I'm not kidding, to fix that, because the Dorman kit that I bought, that was a waste of money. That was a waste of time. It ended up stripping out as soon as it tried to get to the very end, and the door handle did not want to stay in. So, and then with tugging on it, trying to open it and shut it all the time, because this is going to be a daily driver eventually, that's not going to work. So, I took the original screw-on nuts, as they call them, and took a hammer to them. And actually, if you take a hammer to the very top, hammer it down, it hammers down the tabs. And then you can put the original tabs back on. So maybe, you know, I was wrong about that. Sorry about that, China, for the knockoff brand. But, you know, it is what it is. It's done now. It's whatever. But I'm not happy about the fitment part. For some reason, and it has adjustment where you can go side to side, but not much at all. It rubs the actual piece right there. This guy right here, the whole arm right here for the lever, rubs the door, and it sticks on the outside. So when you go to, say, open it, and get the camera in here to focus, you go to open it, it sticks. You have to hit it. That just really ticks me off. I don't know why it's doing that. The driver's side did not do this at all. It was like very, very piece of cake, easy of putting that in. So I don't really know. But anyway, for the most part, I don't care. It's done. It's in. The door panel is going back on. Alright, and just like that, with a blink of an eye, door panel's done. Gonna brush some of this off. Wait, I'll go back over it later on with the compressed air and all that stuff. Vacuum cleaner, clean it up. I've already wiped every one of the door panels down with the leather cleaner, conditioner. Love this stuff. Best stuff in the world by Chemical Guys. Not a sponsor, but yeah, definitely recommend that. $10 at Walmart. And really brings out the vinyl and leather stuff. I'll definitely be using it on every bit of the interior that is leather or vinyl. I use it in my S10. I use it on steering wheels that are leather and stuff like that. But yeah, so it's done. Now to move on to the rest of the interior whenever it gets daylight. Flash to the next day. Alright, so now we got the door panel straightened away. Everything's good to go there. Now we're going to take out the seat. Hey, I know you can't see much. I've got lights out here going on. Trying to get light. Got light in here. I got my drill because I'm going to make things a lot quicker. Got these little covers, and they're easy. There's a Phillips head screw there. One right there. There's one on the back side and then one on the other side. But for the most part, just come in here and... Oh, look at that. More change. Awesome. Getting paid back for what I put in the car already. Sweet. Okay, so you got a 13 millimeter there, and there's two more on the back side of the seat. I'm just going to show you the front side and tackle the other two. Alright, got that stupid cover out of the way. Oh look, another quarter. Sweet. More money back. Well, I'll have to use a wrench on that one. None of these are very tight. Often makes me wonder if these seats were moved before for some reason, or who knows. Alright, now the whole seat should come out. There we go. I'll get this seat out. So here's what I've collected out of the both seats so far. $2.44. Not bad. So, now the seat is out. Need to grab the floor mats. Need to go ahead and tackle that shifter that you can't even see because it's too freaking dark. And, I got to deal with those cables. The cables go underneath the carpet. I'll deal with those when I get the carpet out. But for the most part, need to get the shifter out, which looks like 4 13 millimeter bolts from here. And then the back seats. The back seats, piece of cake. It's easy. The only reason I put it in here is because I wanted to see what it looked like before I finished everything. So, we'll go ahead and tackle that real quick. Alright, so for the most part, every pretty much GM version, Celebrity, Buick, Oldsmobile, all that stuff, every one of them have these little bars, clips that lock in the bottom of the seat. Both sides. There's one over there, one right here. Basically, what you do is take your hand, push back. You'll push as hard as you can backwards. You can see, there it is, right there. A little bar. It locks it in. You'll see it pretty much more whenever I get the seat out. See what I mean? The little bar goes in and locks it into the seat below. So pretty much you push backwards and pull up and it comes right out. Alright, so now you just fold the seat up and pull it right out. That's it. There's nothing that holds the bottom cushion except for that. To get the top cushion out, it's 2 10 millimeter bolts that hold that in. Right there's that one, and the other one's right there. Once you do that, then you pull the seat out this way. It locks in to the top up here the same way the bottom does, in a sort of way. Alright, and the seat belts are like in this little groove pocket. Push those through and they come right out. I can't use these seat belts, they're not the same color. You know, everything's going to be swapped over to red. This thing will never look like it ever had gray interior except for the dash. That's the only thing that's going to tell. Okay, so now you want to go up with the seat like this, where it kind of goes up. It's going to have to be really, really difficult to show with one hand. I'm going to go on the other side and do the same thing. Alright, see the little tabs right here, kind of out of breath, coming down with a little bit of cold, so forgive me for that. But anyway, you see the little, well, get some better daggum light. These little tabs, there's 3 of them, and the back seat locks into the back of them. And that's how that whole seat lays in there. Now, some of these cars, if you're looking for the build sheet, there'll be one behind this one, which there was out of the car that I pulled this from. And there'll be one under the bottom seat, which there was the same thing. There was actually several build sheets from that oldsmobile cutlass ciera that I pulled these from. So, the Celebrity, I've only seen one, and that's under the rear bottom seat cushion, always. I've never seen it anywhere else. Some of them might be in the door panel behind the cover, but most of the time it's behind the rear bunk or bottom seat. Alright, so there is 4 13 millimeter bolts that actually hold the shifter in, as I stated before, and we're going to go ahead and get those off. I don't know what I'm going to do with the tack yet. I'm thinking about putting it on the bottom of the dash, something of like something like this, you know, pointing up. I don't know yet. I don't want to put it in the dash where it's visible to everything, because people will be looking at it and knowing that you know, something's been modified. But I just want to keep it stock looking without looking, you know, kind of whack with stuff like that. I love gauges, but in something like this, I just don't know. And as far as the rear light for that was in the center console, I'm not sure. I'm thinking about making some kind of bracket to where it stays exactly right here where it was, and mounting it to the floor, or just leaving it laying right here like this, so there's light in the rear floorboard. And as many of you may not know, this light car did not come with door switches. You see the little hole right there in the door? Right here? There's no switch. So when I open up the back doors, the lights for the floor and the roof do not come on because there's no switches. I'm going to find out when I take all this trim paneling stuff off if there's actually the wiring there for it. If there is, I will drill and tap that and actually go buy new switches for the rear doors so I have lights, because it sucks trying to do something at night, you know, getting something out of the back seat and you can't see because the lights don't light up. So anyway, get this shifter out of the way. These seat belts have got to be taken out. They actually are held on by, I believe, 13 millimeter bolt, or maybe it's Torx bit, but they supposed to just like turn and pop out. You know, part of me got to thinking, I'm pretty sure that the columns should swap out easy, but My main concern is because it has two cables, one for the pedal to be depressed and the key on to turn, for this to be able to take out of park, because I hear it clicking under there. So I think what I'm going to do is do the column next and go ahead and swap that out. Might want to go ahead and disconnect the battery just in case, because this right here is the main key. If this don't work, then there's no use in swapping anything else. This whole job would be pointless, honestly, because just so much that needs to be done. Or not needs to be done, but now this little piece, I forgot one. Torx bit. That's nice. I'm gonna get my Torx bit kit. Okay, so get some light in here for this. Alright, hopefully the camera's doing correctly, but this guy, that's not stock. This is a ground that goes directly to the cigarette lighter. So no wonder my cigarette lighter has problems, because that's not made for that. That wire is kind of hard and it's thin. Not sure what's going on there, but this black wire, I have no clue what the heck that goes to. I don't know what it's there for, but I gotta change the ashtray sliders. You know, the guides, everybody knows about these. GM, very known for those breaking. So 2 Phillips, and then probably 4 7mm bolts, and then this tray's got to be wiggled out. It's a pain in the ass to get this out, but it'll come out. You have to kind of like bend these tabs on both sides upward to like pull it out. You have to push it in and then pull it out, type of thing. But anyway, I'm going to change that. I'm going to fix this wiring while I'm in here, because you can't get to it without this tray being out here. It's literally right straight to where my finger's pointing. So I'm going to tackle that. And then on the other thing, another topic, this guy, the turn signal cam switch connector, this wire on the very end is frayed. You can't see that. Yeah, see that right there? So some wonders that I didn't have turn signal or brake light problems. Delco reman. So maybe it's been replaced at one time, maybe not. Anyway, the other column that's going in here, it's got all that stuff new, or looks to be in good shape, so I don't really care. It doesn't matter. But for the most part, I got to unplug all this bullcrap wiring that's under here. What a mess. And and then there's 2 15mm bolts for the column. And then if I can get the rest of the other stuff out of the way, if I can get the rest of the stuff out of the way, we'll be able to get the rest of this out. This tray's got to come down, because I've got to get to the boot down there and unbolt the shaft to the steering rack. So once I get that out, unplug all this wiring and stuff, and sensor or brake switch and stuff, get it all out of here, ignition switch and all that stuff, I'll try to tackle this and get this out. I need to get my tripod out here and set y'all guys up so you can actually see some of this stuff getting pulled out of here. Alright, so the ashtray is removed. Not completely, but it is loose. You have to remove the fuse box, because the fuse box bolts these 2 holes, as you can see. And you can't get this tray out until you remove this. Battery's already disconnected, just in case I pinch a wire accidentally somewhere and not know it. Not only that, with all these wires, I gotta mess with the column. So, this Ingenuity crap here, I have no idea. First of all, you don't ever use these. these stupid cheap plastic connectors that draw moisture and end up setting up corrosion. Secondly, you don't put the ground there. I don't know what in the world. No wonder, like I said, my cigarette lighter messes up. This is actually the correct original wire. I don't know why they're not using this. Why did they change it to the steering column? Is it not grounding in the wiring of the car, or what? I really don't know. You can see the rest of it right here. So, I don't know what's going on. But, pretty much every GM, S10, Buick, whatever, front-wheel drive vehicle out there has this as their cigarette lighter connector. And it's black and orange, like most of them are. But what I'm seeing is they changed the cigarette lighter, and that's why this is not going to work. I've got to go to the junkyard, find another cigarette lighter from a front-wheel drive vehicle, GM, maybe even S10, that has this style, like this car should have, and put that in here, because this connector won't work. You have one pin in the very middle, and then you have your ground on the outside. The ground on the outside is the same, but the inside pin is different on this one. So that explains why the cigarette lighter, it looks different than every other car. Like, there's so much, look at this, there's play all in it, it's loose, and it's big, and there's no screw-on piece on the very back like most of these have. I noticed when I first done this car, and I put a radio in it, I didn't have to remove the back of the cigarette lighter. Whenever you put a aftermarket radio, or even try to do the radio to get this trim piece off from 87 to 90, the cigarette lighter has to come out. The back part has to unscrew, and then that comes out, and the cigarette lighter pulls out this way, and then you can get the whole trim panel off. That's one of the key things. I know 82 to 86 is the same way, or let me get that backwards. Maybe it's not. I know the 89 over there has that set up to where you have to remove the cigarette lighter screw on the backside part in order to get this out. So that's why I say this is not stock, it's aftermarket. I mean, I can see the separation between the plastic and the lighter. So somebody's been in here before. It already had an aftermarket radio when I got the car. I took it out because it had shorting problems. It kept shorting out, and it had something to do with the wiring in the radio. It was an Alpine radio. Very nice radio, but I didn't like that. Didn't want the car to catch on fire, so we done away with that. But anyway, so yeah, making a junkyard run tomorrow. I'm not going to have all this back together tonight anyway, but I'm going to change this tray, get rid of this bullcrap wiring here, and get this other column taken out and the new one put in. And that's what I'm going to do right now. Alright, so the column is out, as you can tell. You got the Eurosport factory column, and then you got the newest one that I'm putting in with the shifter on the column. Everything seems to be the same. The mounting brackets right here, there's a mounting bracket that goes here. Both of them share that. The wiring diagram thing here for the turn signal cam, all the wires are the same colors, same place. These are the same color, same place. The ignition switches and stuff like that, they're all in the same place. Good thing I got the key. Yeah, I'm going to need that. It is a tilt column. It is a wiper delay column. However, I made a big boo-boo when I did this, which is fine. I can change it later. It's not a big deal. But for now, I'm not going to have cruise control because this column does not have the button on the end. And it doesn't have this wire. This wire goes all the way down to that column right there on the bottom. Right here. The wire actually connects to it. If I wiggle it, you see it moves the arm. So I won't have cruise control. I'll have to change that arm on this one. I gotta change the steering wheel anyway. I'm not keeping the red steering wheel. I want my black Eurosport wheel on it. I don't like the Oldsmobile look steering wheel. That's gotta go. It looks just too old. I want something sporty, but I want it nice and clean look. They're both chrome pieces, which is good. So, and the ignition switch, or the lock switch, is chrome. Hopefully the turn back mechanism, if you know what I'm talking about, when you're sitting in the car and you only want to turn the radio on, when you turn it back, hopefully that option works on this one, because that one never did work. I always had to turn the column switch all the way forward in order to get the radio to work if I'm sitting still and didn't want the car to run. I don't understand why that happened, but anyway. The writing is still on the hazards, which is pretty cool. The writing on that one's gone. So, anyway, I'm going to pop this back in. It only goes one way. It has notches on the shaft of the steering. So, you don't have to worry about getting it all mixed up. And the bolt that goes through here to hold this column shaft to the steering rack needs to be lubricated with Loctite. So it doesn't come back loose, because it had blue Loctite on it. I'm going to put red on it before it goes back in. That way it doesn't back itself out. But that'd be a bad day if it did. Anyway, when you set the car in here, you set the steering wheel straight and lock it. I mean, the steering is locked. It's not going anywhere. So I'm not going to have a big problem of putting it back like it should. So it's one good thing about GMs. They had these slotted, so you really don't have to worry about getting the steering all messed up or off. The wiring is a mess, but I know how everything goes. I'm going to, like I said, set this column in here, bolt it back in, bolt it back up, connect everything back. It's really just plug and play from here on. I do have to hook up the cable that goes to the shifter on the end right here. It goes right here for the gear selector. And that means taking this out. But I wanted to get the column in first before I did the carpet. I wanted to make sure absolutely that there was no complications of putting this together, because if it did, there'd be no purpose of me doing all this. This is for the safety mechanism, like I was explaining before, that keeps it from coming out of park if the key's not turned. Alright, it's the next day, as you can tell. And of course, it's freaking raining. So anyway, we're going to get this done. The next thing now, the column is in. I don't know if I don't remember exactly where I left off was, because the camera died and never could finish last night. So anyway, the column is in, it's bolted in, all that stuff. I still got to put the shifter cable in there that goes to the firewall to the transmission. I got to take the old one out, but it runs underneath the carpet. So the next thing is the seat belt's got to come out, both of those, and all the trim panels. From the top up here, and this one doesn't even stay. Looks like crap. That's going to come out. All the trim at the bottom is going to come out. The seat belts, all that stuff. The trim that goes all the way up the car, because everything's getting swapped out. So, Torx bit, screws, I think they're T50 or 40. I'll figure it out in just a second. And take those out. Once I do that and the trim, then I just gotta start pulling on and tugging the carpet, and it should come right out. The back part right here is loose already, so not that big of a deal to get this out. This ain't even bolted down. So anyway, guess let's just start taking it apart. Simple enough. That's a long one. And there's not one in there either. Okay. So this trim stuff has been messed with before. And there's not one there or there. Huh. Well, there's one up here. Got to keep up where this stuff goes, because got to put it back with the different color trim. So there's a Torx bit right here, on the bottom side, the back side of the seat belt. Once I do that, then the seat belt will just drop down, and it's pretty much bolted on the inside of the door frame. So to get the bottom piece out, it's actually mounted this way. There's like a little lip right here that it locks into at the top, just like that. And then you got a bottom Torx head bolts, the same thing. They're all 50mm Torx head screw bolts that come out. You got one up here, and you got one right here at the bottom of it. Once you do that, it comes out, and then you got this little piece right here that retracts your seatbelt when you open the door. It actually unscrews from the socket hole right here. So don't take a pry bar and try prying it out. I did it at the junkyard and broke one. But yeah, they unscrew and it comes right out. So this trim pedal piece is out. So now it's time to get the rest. It goes up to the back. And then there's supposed to be 2 screw holes, or 1 screw hole there for a thing like that over there where it has like a hook. But it doesn't. So I just popped this trim panel piece out. And the whole stinking thing should come out. I'll take a pry bar or something real easy with it and try to get it out. Alright, so now it's the trim going back in on this side, the driver's side. There is a defrost plug that I did not know I had. It doesn't seem like it goes anywhere. The wiring harness or whatever is missing for it. It would have been, you know, quite awesome to have that feature, but I guess I don't have it. If I'm not mistaken, I remember the original owner I bought this from told me that the rear glass was replaced because a tree fell on it or something like that. So they must have put in a defrost one instead. I don't know, but either way, that really sucks. I mean, I got the plug there. I just need to get a harness and stuff like that and wire it in to make it work, because that would be pretty handy whenever it gets foggy and early in the morning when it's cold outside. Pretty much cleaning up every little trim panel and piece with this stuff, like I showed you before. It smells good. It makes the shine come back, brings back the color. You know, that's all I really want. The newer seat belt's put in. It's bolted in. Same one thing. It's just one bolt. Takes it in, pulls it out. The rear glass, definitely, that theory I had been replaced before, because there was glass that I cleaned up with the vacuum cleaner after I got this trim and pieces out of the way. So yeah, so I mean, that's pretty neat. So it's been replaced before, so that explains why the rubber and stuff on this windshield is all wider than factory. Most of these that I've seen, they're very, very skinny. There's not much there, and I know my 85 model had a gap here on the other side too that I sealed up with some silicone, but this one's brand new stripping, so that explains it, and that explains why it's got the defrost glass. So anyway, put this trim stuff back in. I also ran the trunk wire. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I got a trunk light from that car too, so it's already wired, plugged up, put in to the trunk lid, ran all the way through, and ran all the way through here because it goes all the way down underneath the dash to the fuse box panel. And you could see just how good this stuff works. As soon as I rub it in, it turns dark. Piece is ready to put in. There's only 2 tabs that hold this in, 2 clips, one there and one there. Actually, the one that took out broke. There was only one holding it in. That one broke, and that one was there. So all these pieces on this car, with the mileage that it has, it's really, really worn out. All these parts that are going in this car now have, like, it said 70,000. It could be 170,000, but I mean, look at that. Is that really 170,000? I don't know, you tell me. Start with the other side. This side's got them all. luckily. Most of them are all the same size except for the very first one. Alright, here she goes. All the trim pieces are removed now. And it's time to go ahead and pull this 30-year-old carpet out. Put in some other 30-year-old carpet back in it, but in way better shape than this one. A lot of stains I've noticed on that side over there. Coffee and whatnot. Might have been the smells I smelt before. And a lot of stink bugs. You know, like I discovered before behind the door panels and whatever. There's some that are behind this trim that I've had to vacuum up that I've seen and found after removing all of it. But anyway, carpet should be free to go now. I got to cut a hole for that wiring to come through for the rear light, because I'm going to make something work for that. And go ahead and get the other one in. I may not record it, I may just go ahead and swap it out. So here's the gray. Time to throw in the red. And hope it works. Well, I was going to put the carpet back in, for the newer carpet, but she's a little rusty. I didn't think this car had any rust. But a little backstory. When this thing, if the phone would focus, when this thing sat for 7 years, the driver's side 2 tires were flat, and the door on this side, the driver's door, was messed up, so it didn't shut good. Water got in, weather stripping was bad, so it leaked in for those years that it sat. And the carpet was wet. I remember when I looked at it, the carpet was wet in the driver's side floor. But the brake cable, all that stuff's kind of rusty. Passenger side looks kind of decent, besides some spots over there, but pretty much clean all in all. It's just right here on the driver's side. So I gotta find something to spray that will kill it and turn the color, or sand it down and paint it and prime it that way. But I like to find something to just paint over it and it kills it and be done with it. So I don't know, we'll figure out something to fix this, because the carpet can't go back in until I get this situated. Alright, so I sanded it down in some spots, and I painted it. Of course the phone's not wanting to focus. Just kind of overcoated it a little bit. It's actually called undercoating for the frame, but I went ahead and picked some up from the parts store, not a sponsor. Also picked up tons of more cans of this stuff, because I'm going to be doing another vehicle, the Blazer, eventually, the frame on it. But this is the stuff I used. Rubberized undercoating by 3M, not a sponsor. Picked it up, it was like $4.50 a can at AutoZone, not bad. So yeah, I bought everything that they had on the shelf, but seems to be really good. It's dry, so now I'm gonna throw the carpet back in it now that I know that it's not gonna rust anymore or get worse. Hopefully whenever we get this in, we'll be able to shampoo it and get some of these stainings out. Steering column is in. Some of the wiring harness is plugged in. I got 2 bolts holding the column in. Got to put this guy back in on the steering shaft and tighten it down. I don't know the torque specs. I'm just tightening it down till it's tight and snug, so it shouldn't come back out with this Loctite on there. I just wanted to show you. Right there's the bolt that goes in between the two. It's a size 3/8 if I'm not mistaken. No, 7/16 is the size. It takes that out. Now another thing too is this is the factory bracket. It went up to here for the steering column, but when you're changing it over, you gotta have this one, because the cable for the shifter that goes to the transmission actually bolts into this guy, and then the rest of this goes up to the column and bolts in that way. Alright, so there's a few days later, follow up. You hear the train in the background. At least it ain't raining anymore for right now. So been to the junkyard a couple times, and for a few reasons. First of all, I wanted to get rid of the famous stock GM door chimer buzzer that makes the dead lion sound, like somebody's dead on the deathbed. I can't stand that sound. That sounds awful. So I went ahead and went to the junkyard and started scrounging through some vehicles, and finally found Supposedly from 93 to 96, Chevy Camaros have the same box, but it's an upgraded box. It actually has a chime to it, and it has 3 different settings. One for when the key's in it, it'll ding different. One for when the headlights are left on, and the other one for when you turn the key on to before you start it when the lights light up. There's a different chime. So there's 3 different settings there, and that's what I wanted. Finally found that, put that in. It was best $10 ever bought. I'll show you that in just a second what it sounds like. And I'll give you the part number for it so you can change it on yours, because there's a lot of these out here that have that same annoying buzzer, and if you want to get rid of it, well, that'll be the best choice that I would think of. But got these little covers. I painted those. They came from a Buick Century limited edition. I think it was like an 87 or something like that. So then so I done that and put those on. It kind of makes the car look a little bit better, you know. I wanted something that I don't know, I wasn't even looking for it, but I seen those and I was like, I gotta have them. So it really just kind of fills in the place of under the hood. But anyway, the shift cable problem, that was another reason why I went to the junkyard. You can see it's hooked up now, right there. But the little bracket that goes on the transmission straight down, that little guy, well, I had to change that. It's 213s to change that out. And I had to go find a vehicle that had the shifter on the column in order to have that, because that's the only ones that had that type of bracket for the cable. I think it was like $5 or $10 for that bracket, which is not bad. It came from a Buick Century. I think it was like a 95, but yeah, it swapped right in like nothing. So it has to be something like that. It can't be the 3-speed. I tried a 3-speed bracket, that didn't work, because the 3-speed bracket, which I actually have laying around, bolts not on top but on the side, and the cable, instead of it going straight this way, it goes this way as an angle, and that didn't work for this. So if you're trying to do this swap from a column shift to a floor shift to a column, I don't know why many people would, but I am, you will need the later model transmission 4-speed bracket for that. I also got a hood light. That's pretty neat. I got the wiring harness and all that stuff hooked up. It hooks up to my factory harness that I already had, and I just never had a light. So now I got one of those. I'll have to fix that so it opens and comes on, and when you shut it, it goes off. So the other thing I got was the, I mentioned before, the trunk light. So I got that in. It's got a little LED bulb in it, but it's not coming on. It's hooked up, but it ain't coming on. I'm not sure what exactly is going on there, but that part's just not working. I got to figure out why. I tried putting power to it from a battery, and it still would not come on. So I don't know if it's the bulb I'm using or if there's still a ground issue under the trunk. Because the other car that I used to have, you could bang on the trunk and it would actually make the light come on. So I don't know. It's all tight. It ain't moving any, but it's just not working. Alright, so the interior part, carpet is done, and the belts and trim and all that stuff is in. The back seats are done, as you've seen in the other part of the video. The seat belts are done. This right here actually fit through the floor light. I told you I was keeping that. It fit through the little hole here where the seatbelt light comes on, the cable that goes through here. So I didn't have to drill a hole or nothing in the carpet. I actually just went through the access panel here and just fit it through. So it's going to fit back here. I'll have to make a bracket or something later just so it has a floor light in the back. I'd like to shampoo it. There's some spots like right here that needs to come out. It's like some kind of sticky something, but for the most part, I mean, it's clean. There's no other really stains in it. I got to vacuum it where a bunch of craps fell down from me being under the dash. The door chimer on the Chevy Celebrities, at least from 87 to 90, is under here, right here. This panel. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So directly right behind this panel, straight up, is the box. I won't be able to show you exactly, but that's exactly where it's at. You got to remove the whole black panel piece that goes under here, and then once you get to that and you get to this dash piece that comes off, remove that. It's literally where the diagnostics OBD1 port is, straight up underneath it, right above it, straight back is the box. It'll be a black box, is the factory one. The one that's in it now is a tan one. And here is that right here. I actually got two of them just so I can have them. They had two Camaros in, and I got both of them that were there. Part number 1410255. You gotta make sure that it's actually the 255 or it won't work. Those numbers make everything. So, that's what's in it. Actually, the Chevy Camaro and the Pontiac Firebird and some others share the same thing. That you put the key in, makes that sound. Alright, pull the headlights. Say you left your headlights on. Alright, put the key in. Pretty freaking sweet. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish the bottom of this dash, get some of this wiring put back up, and we'll start putting the seats in this thing. Alright, so here's the finishing project of it all. Windows are tinted, interior is swapped, a lot of other things are done in between of that stuff. So, yeah, here's the final ending result of the Celebrity Eurosport. As far as, you know, what we're doing in today's video, there will be so much more coming, because I eventually want to do an engine swap on this thing. Actually, a whole drivetrain swap, engine and transmission. She's got 239,000 miles on her, so it's had it. But the windows and everything really do it all, having tinted windows. I ain't done the rear glass yet, but it'll get done. Took it to the car wash because I wanted to test to see how it leaked. You know, the paint's crappy anyways, guys. Don't beat me up in the comments for it. So it really doesn't matter, you know, if I go through a car wash that touches it. I mean, literally, you got pieces that are falling off. You got pieces right here that are messed up. So I got another trunk lid for it. And I have a few other parts for it. But this thing will get painted eventually. But for the most part, it doesn't leak except still on the driver's side door, right above the damn mirror. Some reason right here on the other side is leaking. I don't get it. I added these pieces to actually go on the top. Right here, these rubber pieces all the way down. It sealed every other door except for the driver one. Now, I did replace the door pin bushings and all that stuff, and because the door used to sag, maybe that's why. Maybe it'll never seal again because it's probably bent just a little bit and I can't really tell it, but you know, it is what it is. I'll just have to watch out when it rains. So yeah, everything's done. It's washed, it's clean. It looks really, really good. They got LED headlights in this thing now, if you hadn't watched those videos. So for the interior part, door handles are done. Here's the ending final result. It's done. Door panels, everything. Carpet, look at that, immaculate. Put the tack right there. I thought that was a good spot to put it. I still got to come up with some cover pieces for this right here, for the door handle part. If you got any ideas of that, let me know in the comments. But yeah, I mean, it looks really, really good. It smells really good too. That leather is everything, especially with the conditioner put on top of it. Yeah, it rides so much better, so much better. More comfy, more cushiony, you know. Still got to do something about a bracket for the rear light for the floor, but you know, all is to come. Headliner needs to be done too. But oh, and the door chimer. Let's go ahead and fire it up, let it warm up, because it's pretty cool today. I love that. One problem is, don't need that, demonetized. The turn back for the radio part. When you turn the key all the way back, it still don't work. The other column didn't do it, and for some reason this one's not doing it, but I'll have to figure that out another time. Fires right up every time. Here's the other side. I mean, I just can't I can't get over it. I'm sorry. I just cannot. It's beautiful. Can't wait to get this thing painted eventually. And if you're asking what color, well, I'm in between of going to the factory color of the gray metallic with you know, the little metallic sparkles in the paint, because some of it, like right in here, you can see it, the original color right in there. You can get the sun on it. Yeah, that's what the original color was. And if you didn't know, if you're not watched many videos of this, or you're the first time even seeing this car, it actually had been painted by Mako, and they ruined it. After they done that, it screwed it all up. That's why it looks so crappy on this side. And then you've got this whatever layer of stuff on top of the paint. I don't know what they done. I don't even think they even sanded it down. I think they just shot it with another coat of paint on top of what was there, and that's what happened to it. But yeah, I can't wait. So it's either between that color or black with a red pinstripe. And then you got the red molding around the car because it's a Eurosport model. Under the hood looks good. Still got some more stuff to do to these. Just realized that my CV axle busted. That was brand new. See the fluid everywhere. The boot busted. And now, in the result, all this stuff is slung up this way. It's slung up on the belt and the pulleys and everything now. So that's fantastic. That's just great. So I got to clean that off. But yeah, looks like I'll be doing the CV axle again. That's an AutoZone part. So anyway, interior's done. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the bottom. Let me know what you think. There'll be more videos of this car and more other things on the channel. So like the video, give it a big thumbs up. I appreciate it. Subscribe if you hadn't already. Hit the notification bell so every time I upload, you get the notification. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, because if it wasn't for you, I would not be able to do any of this. So great shout out to you. And I will catch you in the next one. Stay tuned for more content coming your way.